guys, welcome to Better Bachelor. This is Joker with a voice for radio and a face only my mother could love. All right, so today we're going to talk about Hollywood and the slow dying of Hollywood and how they're basically killing themselves. And this is coming around from a lot of reasons. Ricky Gervais last night on the Golden Globes absolutely crushed it. And there's been many, many videos out there. If you haven't seen it yet, go out and look at Ricky Gervais's opening monologue for the Golden Globes last night and some of his quips. He actually just tore down and tore apart Hollywood for their double standards. You know, we've got rich, very rich, well-off people that are telling us how to live our lives, while in the meantime they have no idea what it's like to be an average person. So I want to kind of go through some of these today, and then I want to talk about what it's going to take to actually make Hollywood be more productive. Yes, this does have a little bit to do with men going their own way because, you know, so many of our commercials and everything else, the buying power usually goes towards women. Women spend 80% of money where men spend 20%. But where men will spend their wallets is at the movie theaters. Number one, single guys like movies too. And number two, if you are dating somebody, well, a popular date is going to the movies. Now it's become a whole lot of Netflix and hanging out and chilling, as it were, right? So this morning, to kind of give you an idea of how it's trending, Ricky Gervais had 752,000 tweets trending. Okay, not his tweets, but there were 752,000 tweets trending about Ricky Gervais. Obviously, he was being talked about. Also, Hollywood hypocrites was being talked about quite a bit, as was HW down there at the bottom. I can't say his name or else my video will not get shared. So when we go forward here, I'm going to read through a few articles for you, and you can see kind of what I'm talking about here. How Hollywood sees itself, dedicated craftsmen, important artists, world thought leaders, how Ricky Gervais and everyone else sees them, criminals, pervs, dopes, a gang of pretentious jerkwads who dropped out of high school when people noticed they were pretty, then mistakenly started to think their insights on world affairs mattered. And he did absolutely eviscerate Hollywood last night. It was a joy to watch. Now, I don't watch the Golden Globes, and neither do a lot of other people, and we're going to get into some of those statistics as well. And of course, the far left and the very progressives took this as an opportunity to tear up Ricky for his words. Slate here says, just how big a jerk was Ricky Gervais at the Golden Globes. Now, of course, Slate magazine, I would guess, it's not an article or something, a magazine that I read, probably does a lot of Hollywood and celeb stuff, or gets their money from selling stories about Hollywood, so of course they have to back them up. That's just a guess, though. Here's another story. Media trashes Ricky Gervais for telling Hollywood to F off, right? So obviously there's some... Now this is actually a report on the other reporters that were telling him off, so it's a bit different. But let's look at the right on NBC's site, they have Ricky Gervais monologue, and there's almost 1.9 million views. Out of that, it has 100,000 likes and only about 1,000 dislikes. That means 99% of people agreed with Ricky Gervais. That's a huge deal, and I think that's awesome. But it also tells you what the general consensus is about Hollywood today. The Golden Globes took another hit in viewership this year, but with a whole lot of asterisks. And this is from 2019's Golden Globes. All told, 18.6 million viewers watched 3 Hour Plus of 2019 Award Fest, according to NBC, which is the smallest audience for the show in 3 years, so that's not so hot. Here's the important part from this article. Also, NBC points out most other award shows have been down to a far greater degree lately. The Academy Awards were down 19% last year. The Grammys were down 24%, the Emmys down 10%, the CMAs, which is Country Music Awards, down 29%, and the American Music Awards were down 28%. Plus, all of those other shows were down in the adult demo, and the Globes weren't. So let's now talk about the politics, right? So Rose McGowan, she put this tweet out just a couple days ago that says, "Dear Iran, the USA has disrespected your country, your flag, your people. 52% of us humbly apologize. We want peace with your nation. We are being held hostage by a regime. We do not know how to escape. Please do not, take us out." Well, Rose here seems to think she speaks for 52% of Americans. And if you're really being held as a hostage by this regime, I got news for you. You're rich enough, Rose, from all your movie star or all your movies that you've done, you can get on a plane and move to another country. So why don't you do that then? This political pandering is really not working for Americans, no matter what side you're on. Here's an article, and I can't say the full name or else my video will get shadow banned, but Hollywood hypocrites have always embraced Epstein, right? I would call those last two stories political, right? Now let's move on to climate change. A-list hypocrisy. Hollywood stars elites flock to Google's climate change summit in private jets and massive yachts. And they go on to say there's nothing quite like a conference on climate change hosted by the world's biggest tech company, Google, to attract the most earth-conscious, beautiful people. And of course, nothing screams hypocrisy when those A-listers and elites show up in their event in their own private jets and massive yachts. Again, they're really good at telling you what you should do, but they're not going to do it themselves. Again, more on this. Golden Globes, Russell Crowe blames Australian fires on climate change and acceptance speech. This was from a year or two ago, and so it's not this most recent speech. Now let's talk about, moving on from climate, now let's talk about politics again, but this one about capitalism. This is from Mark Ruffalo. It's time for an economic revolution. Capitalism today is failing us, killing us, and robbing our children's future. And then he posts a story how American elites lost their grip. The 2019 America's 1% behaved badly and helped bringing about a reckoning with capitalism. Two things here, Mark. Number one, you're part of the 1%. So you just posted how America's elites lost their grip, and you've lost your grip, and you're one of the elites. So thanks for that. Number two, you made all your money by being a capitalist. You're a movie star. Capitalism is us going to the movies and spending money on your tickets. So then last night, this is the last one I have, I think. Michelle Williams stands up in part of her speech. It says, so women 18 to 118, when it's your time to vote, again, politics, please do so in your own self-interest. This is what men have been doing for years. So not only is this an attack against men, but it's an attack against this. She was promoting the right to not have children after you're already pregnant, right? And here's the box office numbers falling off ever since 2001. And we have here Los Angeles Times. Hollywood is suffering its worst attendance summer movie season in 25 years. That was for this past summer. And again, these newspaper articles, Star Wars trolls blame Solo box office failures. The trolls, quote unquote trolls, are male. They're men. They're blaming men for this stuff. Same thing with Elizabeth Banks, preemptively blaming men for Charlie's Angels box office problems. And again with Skywalker, it doesn't matter if Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker is good or bad, toxic fans will try to destroy it. So time after time after time, whether it's politics, whether it's, they haven't touched on religion yet, but whether it's climate change, whether it's men are bad, what they do is every time they do this, they take a group and tell them, I don't like how you think. And when you do that enough times, that group says, you know what? I'm not giving you any of my money anymore. And that's collectively what America's starting to do. Now, with Ricky Gervais last night doing this speech that he did, the interesting part about it is that many, you can see out of 100,000 likes, 1,000 had dislikes. So that's 99% approval rating. Ricky Gervais is not conservative. Ricky Gervais is liberal. So his views are being liked by conservatives and liberals. It's not a political thing. His comments were being liked by female and male. It's not a gender thing. Everyone that liked him, he said to everyone what he said, and everyone said back, yes, we agree with you, and yes, we think you're right. So obviously, Hollywood is in a bit of a bind. And I think what's going to happen this year is that from just all the news articles and the popularity that Mr. Gervais has gotten from this burning down of Hollywood tropes, I think what's going to happen is that hopefully, if the media is smart, and if Hollywood's smart, and if people are smart, they're going to start to see that it pays well to not be part of the woke elite. And this might be the first sign where people see proof that if you stop being a jerk and stop putting down all of your audience, maybe they'll come back to you. And I'm really interested to see how things are going to develop this year, to see if the male bashing and the woke bashing or the woke activism and the political bashing and all of this starts to die off to the point where maybe it might be worth going to the movies again. Guys, if you like my work, you can support me down below. I've added a Bitcoin link if you'd like to drop me a Satoshi or two, as well as my other PayPal links. Please like, subscribe, and comment on everything here because I want to hear from you guys and hear what you think. And secondly, it helps boost my videos so more people find out about the manosphere and kind of modern day society and about going your own way. This is Better Bachelor. I am Joker. We'll talk to you soon.